Dice Jones here at Alt News Talk Radio. You think race isn't a problem in California? Well, a new report shows otherwise. This report came from the Mercury News. Let's go to the story. Well, look, don't be fooled by California's increasing diversity. Racial and ethnic inequity remains a key problem and a potential barrier to future growth, according to Race Counts, a new web tool that measures racial and ethnic disparities in the state's 58 counties. Marin County, for example, one of the wealthiest and most socially progressive communities in America, ranks dead last when it comes to racial inequities in several key factors, according to the data. Likewise, the four-county Southern California regions, Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, and San Bernardino, are struggling with racial inequity in areas as basic as income, education, health care, and incarceration, the data shows. Unveiled November 14th by Advancement Project California, a Los Angeles-based civil rights group that worked on the project with USC's Program for Environmental and Regional Equity and the immigration rights group PICO, P-I-C-O, National Network and California Calls. The study examines 7 specific measures: economic opportunity, healthcare access, education, housing, democracy, crime and justice, and environment. The group then tracked publicly accessible data to show how Caucasians, Latinos, Asians, and African Americans fare in each category. The end result offered 2 measures of performance: how all residents in a county are faring collectively on the 7 categories, and secondly, how each racial and ethnic group fares when compared with the best performing group in the same county. John Kim, executive director of the Advancement Project, said the goal was to shake Californians out of their complacency that the state's progressive political bent and rising multiculturalism is translating into less racial inequity. Quote, "This report is like an MRI scan," Kim said. "It digs deeper so we can see under the surface and identify the system that need to be reinvented." Quote, "In California, racial disparity seems to be accepted as the normal cost of doing business," he added. "And as a major minority state, that should not be acceptable anymore," Kim said. "If we don't solve these disparities, California is going to decline," unquote. The purpose of the study, Kim added, is not to point fingers or vilify any group. Quote, "There are places in California like Kern and San Bernardino counties where white communities are struggling," he added. So the data also shows we need to create new coalitions where we all work together toward progress and prosperity for all. So the variations by county. In Southern California, counties varied in overall performance and in racial inequities. For example, in Los Angeles County, African Americans are 13 times more likely to be incarcerated than are whites. Also, on a per capita basis, blacks in the county died at the hands of police 4 times more often than did whites in 2015, while Latinos died at the hands of police at nearly twice the rate of whites. The study also showed significant disparities in housing in Los Angeles County, with Latinos 3 times more likely than whites to lack access to quality housing. Quote, "We're not talking about paint jobs here," unquote, Kim said. "We have 36,000 Latino households that live in low-quality housing, and that means there's no kitchen, plumbing, or heating." Overall, Orange County has the lowest racial disparity among all counties in Southern California, but some stark differences remain. For example, the data shows the rate of truancy arrests is 3 times higher for Latinos and twice as high for African Americans than it is for Caucasians and Asian students. It's not a trivial problem. No, it is not. Overall, we have both racial disparity and class disparity in this country, he said. Casey believes coming face to face with the type of data put forth by the Advancement Project can help communities move forward or toward changing the narrative of the region. There is no strong middle class, he said, referring to the Inland Empire. Quote, "We have low-paying warehousing jobs. We need to reimagine criminal justice without criminalizing African American and Latino communities. We need to take these numbers and inform minority groups that they have the power to move the needle with active engagement." Quote, "We have the power to change things for the better." Now, I'm going to move on. Before I give my commentary on this, I'm going to move on to another story that I want to back up behind this story to show something here. This is about the controversial rapist Brock Turner, who seeks to overturn his conviction. Now, I just want to say, can you believe this dude? We're going to go into this story for a minute. So if you'll recall, Brock Turner was convicted of 3 counts of sexual assault in March 2016 in a case that drew national attention for his 6-month sentence. He is appealing his conviction with legal documents filed December 1st, 2017. Controversial convicted rapist Brock Turner, who was found guilty of sexually assaulting a woman, is seeking to appeal his case. At the time of his conviction in March 2016, Turner's case drew heavy criticism because of the seemingly lenient sentencing the former Stanford student received. After being found guilty of 3 felony counts of sexual assault, Turner was sentenced to 6 measly months of jail time and was released after serving only 3 months. In a move this past Friday, Turner's legal team filed a 172-page brief describing his trial as, quote, "a detailed and lengthy set of lies," unquote, and are seeking to overturn his mandatory requirement to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. Among the claims in the documents is the notion that the jury in the trial was tainted because prosecutors repeatedly stated the assault was committed behind the dumpster. Turner's lawyers point out that the victim, referred to as Emily Doe in the trial, was found instead in an open area near a basketball court. They further state that they do not believe what happened was a crime. In sum, the appeal is based on claims of prosecutorial misconduct and violations of due process. California Superior Court Judge Aaron Persky is currently fighting a recall effort being led by activists outraged by the 6-month sentence. Well, folks, I'll just say this. I was involved in part of that activism because the papers came across my eyes and came across my hands and was supported. The activist told me that this was to recall the judge who only gave this rapist 6 months jail time. Now, I also want to point out this is an example of what black people call white privilege. This is what white privilege looks like. It's when you are a white man and you commit a crime, and as bad as the crime is, you, because of your skin color, you get a slap on the wrist. And in this case, he only got 3 months jail time for rape. So when we talk about the study that I just outlined previously in California, we know that that study also relates to the rest of the country because of the system that we live under. This is a travesty. This is a travesty. It is an unjust system where you allow people that look like Brock Turner, because of his skin complexion, he is allowed to get out of jail on a short jail term, when you have black men, black and brown men, incarcerated for years for lesser crimes. This is an unjust system, and it's a travesty. I wanted to bring out this example to show you just how lopsided and just how foul the so-called justice system is. And it's unacceptable. This is the type of news that we bring to you at Alt News Talk Radio, because we're going to talk about what's important, and we're going to tell you the truth. It may come from a different perspective than what you've previously thought, but this is what we're going to bring to you. So, I'd just like to say to my white brothers and sisters, same with my Asian brothers and sisters, and my Mexican brothers and sisters, who you call yourselves Latinos and Latinas, just remind yourself that the next time you try to ridicule a black person and quote statistics on why is it that so many black men and women are incarcerated, just remember that we live in a system that is designed to make it that way. And let this be an example that I just shown you of a Brock Turner who only gets 3 months in jail for rape, and now seeking to have his conviction overturned because, well, he doesn't want to be inconvenienced with going through a lifetime of being a registered sex offender. Because after all, that might come back and bite him in the behind. I tell you what, karma is a you-know-what. I believe that this guy, Brock Turner, is going to get his, one way or another. This is Dice Jones at Alt News Talk Radio. Thanks a lot for watching. Hit that subscribe button. I'm out.